All right, we are live 6:15 or 10:15 on the East Coast. Welcome back to Late Night Gun Chat, everybody. This is just one of those chats where we just kind of answer everybody's questions, talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. If you send a super chat, I'll see it faster and better, but I try to get to everything in the chat, so don't feel like you have to. No big deal. Anyway, I hope everybody is doing fine. I gotta turn one thing on in the chat here before we do that. And let me see. We should be joined by NYPrepper tonight. Don't forget, we have discount codes for Blackbeard fire starters, and Alaskan is the discount code, as well as just in case holsters, also discount code Alaska. Looks like we're gonna got a good amount of people in the chat uh, uh, already, so that's good. Anyway, let me go into YouTube real quick already, so that's good. Hold on. Gotta go into YouTube somehow. Hold on 1 second, guys. Change something in the chat. There we go. YouTube didn't change it for me. So there we are. I'm back. All right. All right. So let's see who's here. We got Reloading Weatherby here. Marshall DeVoe, the Iron Marshal. All right. Bet Napoleon wishes he had him. Didn't put him on other duties during Waterloo. Took Marshal Grucci instead. Dan O'Neill is working on a late night snack. There you go, my friend. Last one, Andy. Evening. All right. Michael, what is up? Good. Michael Hurtneck. I guess that's how you say it, correct? Hurtneck. And let's see. Good evening from North Idaho. Bullets for Bucks. Great channel. Go check them out. Been packing. Said you can't come. Maybe next year. Maybe. It really does come out a bad time of year for me, because I just can't take days off like that. I just can't do it. All right, so it is what it is. Reloading Weatherby, do you think 375 caliber is too much for Alaskan bears? Heck no. It might be too little. That would be, I consider, if big Alaskan brown bears, for defensive and hunting, I consider a 338 Win Mag should be your bare minimum. Like, does bare minimum, get it? But pun intended. But that doesn't mean that you can't use something lighter. But like, if you're gonna take a through the body shot, 338 Win Mag is your bare minimum. So 375 is fine. There's a lot of people that live in that 458 Win Mag range, or 416 Rigby or something like that. So this is what it is. All right. Should be joined by NYPrepper in a few minutes. How's it going, man? What are your thoughts on the new 30 Super Carry? I think it's going to be a gimmick, to be honest with you. It's probably not going to live up to expectations. People are going to get out there and start ballistics gel testing it and seeing what it is. It's an interesting concept. I don't see the point of getting rid of 9mm for it. Like, not a point in my opinion. So anyway, all right, and we have the infamous New York Prepper here.
What's up, man?
Not a whole lot. Just going through some of the first questions already, but is what it is. How are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. All right, so we got a lot of people in the chat already, which is good, and already some questions here. Have you seen anything on the new 30 Super Carry? It's brand new round they came out with. So
no, I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, smaller than a 9mm, so that you can pack more rounds. More powerful than a 380 by far.
Okay.
Big clip on like 9mm Makarov energies, I guess is the right word. So is what it is. Yeah. So in a like SIG P365 gun, you could get 12 or 13 rounds instead of 10. You know, it's the idea. So
it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. I don't know about a 30 caliber handgun. You always needed a really big diameter bullet for handgun to transfer energy well, but who knows?
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Greetings, man. Let's see what we got here. Surprised the internet is working good enough for this. First live watching. I understand that, man. I'm surprised my internet's holding through. I know a lot of times I come across pixelated and stuff because my internet is what it is. All right, Dan O'Neill's giving us his opinion. Would you recommend searching for a 30-06 in an AR platform? No. They do make it. It is made. My answer is no, because why would you? And the difference between 30-06 and 308 these days is less than 150 feet per second, sometimes less than 100 feet per second. And if I have my reloading manual, there's some places in my Nosler reloading manual with the 168 grain bullets, the Nosler and 165 grain bullets, I can get better velocities out of a 308 than I can a 30-06. The highest velocity in 30-06 is less than the highest velocity in 308 in that manual. I'm not saying it's correct. I'm not saying that's normally the case, but why would you do that when like 308 is so much more prevalent? You can find parts and stuff like that. What do you think?
I agree. I have an AR-10 actually with a 16-inch barrel. I get about 2,500 to 2,600 feet per second with AR-10 with that barrel, 16-inch. Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Exactly. So you got Quest for the Perfect Load. He's a cool little channel. I just found him, along with Kentucky Patriot in here. So.
Oh, Kentucky Patriot, what's up, dude?
30 super carry taken away, manufacturing time from ammo people want and need for guns they already have. I agree. Yeah, that's the way I'm thinking about it too. Yeah. Yeah, so it's not technically like, I think it's Noreen firearms who produced the 30-06 and 308, and it's not technically that. You have to. It's a bigger receiver, so it's an AR style, but it's not an AR-10, and it gets to be pretty clunky and heavy, and like, to be honest with you, I'd rather have an M1 Grand.
Yep.
Or I'd rather. There was a guy back in the 1990s during the assault weapons ban who would convert your Remington 7400 to take what was it? It was an ugly, big old conversion, but you could take Browning BAR mags, like the original 20-round BAR World War II mags. I would rather have that than have an AR in 30-06. I literally would rather go buy a brand new Springfield M1 Garand before I bought a AR in 30-06.
Plus, they're expensive. Those the Noreens, they're like $2,000 or more even. So
yeah, I thought they were close to $3,000 myself. So
yeah, plus you got to wait like a couple months for them. You know, everything's out of stock now. So
yeah, I am on the 30-06 over 308. Oh yeah, for a hunting rifle, for like a bolt action rifle, absolutely. But for the guy asked for an AR style rifle, and my answer is no, because you just can't find the parts and the things available. I mean, I've seen them on the shelves before. There's a shop down the road from me about 15-20 minutes that might have one on the shelf right now, but doesn't mean you should get that one. So I am old school BAR. All right, so 30 super carry, kind of hot trash. Yeah, we'll see. I would love to get my hands on one and to pick it up. I mean, I'm not going to spend money that I don't need to spend right now to pick one up. If I see one and there's ammo available for it and I have the money, I might pick one up for the channel, but is what it is. So picked up my first AK today and shooting it this weekend. Sweet, man. All right. So I take it I should stick with my DV10 308. Yeah. I don't see why you wouldn't. If you want a 30-06, get a bolt gun or an M1 Garand. You're not going to find parts. It's going to hard to find magazines. The receiver is even larger. And if you really want a larger receiver 308, why wouldn't you go with what is it, the Omen or the Nemo Arms, the 300 Win Mag? Why not
Yep.
go with the 300 Win Mag version? That one gets you anywhere from 300 to 600 feet per second more than a 308. So that
Yep.
one might be worth it. So, and if you're spending $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000 for a gun, like you would be with an AR-10 30-06 or an AR style 30-06, yeah, why not do that? So, all right. And they say it's good to see you live. How you doing?
What's going on?
Yeah. All right. 30 super carry reminds me a lot of the 327 mag. High pressure with a little more capacity, which I think was a fine idea, but not fine enough to take off. I concur. Like 327 Magnum was a cool idea, but again, yeah, same thing as a 45 gap. I agree. Like 30 super carry, 45 gap, 327 Magnum kind of go all in that package. So is what it is. Wish I got a 300 Win Mag instead of my 30-06. Now, yeah, I agree with that. I've got a few of the spammers in here tonight that I got to delete.
It might have came over from my stream.
Yeah, they might have. Like, ooh, a new stream to spam. There we go. Anyway. All right, so is the 30 Super just a pocket gun? Or rethink on 38 Super and a pocket gun? No, it hasn't been listed really in any pocket guns yet. There's the Shield EZ line, so which I don't consider a pocket gun. I consider it just a little bit big for a pocket gun. Although you're talking to somebody who pocket carries a Glock 29. So anyway, but yeah, no, I wouldn't call it that. Yeah. So all right, so now we got NYPrepper here. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your channel and tell us what you do? I think we've gone through most of the chat questions for now. Tell us everything you do on your channel. I'm familiar with it. Hopefully everybody else is out there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's mostly a prepping channel, but I do also outdoors and ballistics tests. When I started my channel, it was mostly for prepping, but I've always been into firearms and hunting since I was a teenager. So I started doing some ballistics testing. So I do a variety of stuff. I do I'll do like breaking news coverage. If there's some kind of important news, I'll do videos on that. I'll do ballistics testing. I try to put out like one ballistics test a week usually. So yeah, I do. So I do firearms. I was thinking of splitting my channel into like a separate, firearms and outdoors, maybe like NYPrepper outdoors, and then, my other channel, my main one for prepping. But then it gets confusing. People don't go to your secondary channel, so I have it all lumped into one. Yeah. So
I understand that completely. Yeah, nobody goes to my secondary channel. So, but that's because my secondary channel is all the classical music I write, and it is what it is. So
it's good music.
Well, thank you. Thoughts on a bipod for the Scar? Anything that attaches to a Picatinny rail. I mean, the Scar has a rail on the bottom of it, right? So,
I have an Atlas bipod. Atlas bipods, if you can afford it, they're really good. Atlas bipod.
And if you can't, the Magpul bipod's pretty decent too.
Yeah, only $100.
Yep. And I honestly love my Harris bipods. So you get a adapter for a rail and put a Harris bipod on it, you're not going to go wrong. So you probably want to get a 9 to 13 inch minimum instead of like for a bolt gun, I get a 6 to 9 inch medium because I'm short and I have a short neck and I tuck in tight on that rifle when I'm on a bench. But when you have a magazine sticking out that far at the bottom of the gun and you might be on uneven terrain in the field, you might want a 9 to 13 inch minimum kind of thing. That would be the zoom on the bipod I think you would want.
If you have the Atlas bipods, like I have a 6 to 9 Atlas bipod, but they have the extendable legs that you can put on. So you can put those extra legs on there and it'll turn it into a 13. So it's basically a 6 to 13, if you put the legs on. So
cool. All right. Reloaded your favorite bullet last on the 130 grain SST and 270. There you go. Don't hit anything with bones in it. So there you go. All right. Hello, Prepper. Greetings from Brazil. Came from your channel. Subscribe here. Thanks, man. So he has a good channel. Go check him out.
Thank you.
Yep. Somebody, one of my moderators will find his channel. Put a link to his channel.
It's just youtube.com/NYPrepper. That's it.
Yep. There we go.
Very simple.
Yep. Maybe I can find it real quick.
Thank you.
Yep. Now, New York Prepper has been very good here on getting us covered and understanding what's going on with Ukraine, which, you know, people don't understand. We could be at war with Russia within the week. That's not a realistic timeline, but within 3 or 4 months, we could be at war with Russia or supporting a war against Russia. And, you know, that's not a great thought living in Alaska, because I'm the first one to get bombed in the United States, period, you know?
Yeah, you're right there.
Yeah. It's, you know, I can see Russia from my house. No, I'm just kidding. That's not true. Not true. Nobody in Alaska can see Russia.
I was
from their
thinking
house.
of that. I was thinking of Sarah Palin when you said that.
Yeah. So, no. Yeah. So
That's funny. Yeah, it's a crazy situation.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, it is a crazy situation. Yeah. So, like you were telling in your stream just a minute ago, basically the talks didn't really go anywhere. They didn't expect to go anywhere. It was just introductory talks over it, basically.
Yeah, both sides they're not willing to compromise, so it's not gonna really go anywhere probably.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I don't think it's gonna go. It's one of those things where we don't want you to conquer this land, and they want to conquer that land. So they either got to back down or we got to back down. It's not one of those things,
right?
Where you can do anything about it. You know, I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty interesting how, like, the government in Kiev is like training civilians and handing out weapons and building up local militias and like doing all this Second Amendment stuff. Like, really, you know?
Yeah, it's awesome, actually. Yeah,
it's like that's one reason. A side benefit of you having a Second Amendment is to prevent aggression against your neighbor.
Yep, that's right.
So
that's why no one's gonna mess with America, because we got, you know, the largest guerrilla army in the history of the world. We got 400 million guns here, so no one wants to invade us, you know.
No. Maybe Biden can help with talks. That's probably not a good idea. Although I will say, like, at least Biden, so far, his administration isn't just rolling over and letting Russia do it. I eventually think that's probably what's going to happen, because he screwed himself. He screwed the pooch on that one when he took out all of our oil pipelines and reserves and stopped pumping our own oil. He basically now we're importing all the oil from Russia, and right now we only have gas in our cars because of Putin's good graces, you know. So it's not and I'm not saying he's a good and gracious person. I'm just saying because he wants the money. That's that. So all right, so here's a pretty good question. My barrel has melted. Yeah. Pretty tall mountain of water, see through 3 per mile rise in elevation. Huh, I did not know that. All right. You guys have 24/7 surveillance at your domicile.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the FBI and stuff is probably surveilling me for all my stuff on here. No. No, I don't. I'm looking into getting it. You know, it's just one of those things. It's another monthly bill, and it's another thing to invest in. And, you know, we usually have dogs that are not domiciled. We live in a quiet, out of the way neighborhood. So, You know, there hasn't been a break-in or a crime on the street in 20 years, I'm sure. But that doesn't mean it won't happen tomorrow to my house. So, you know, is what it is. That's that. Yeah.
Filibuster. What that means?
Yeah. How about the filibuster for what? That's what we're asking for. What are you asking for a filibuster about? I dig your music channel. Not my bag. Always play blues rock, but it's good stuff. NYPrepper, any thoughts on the Supreme Court case and how it will affect your prep? You and your prep.
What's Supreme Court case?
I'm assuming he's talking about the vaccine, which looks like they're going to support the vaccine mandate so far.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, you should be prepared regardless, you know. That's the way I tell people is, you know, if you're prepared, you can deal with any situation. If you're not prepared, then, you know, so just be prepared, you know, that's all I can say. While you still have a chance, you know, still a chance to get what you need now before things go crazy.
Chuck clicked away from a Spomer comp of 375 H&H and 338 Winchester mag from Lancia and everything but mention Chuck by name. Yeah, I was supposed to get together with that guy and we were supposed to do some videos and stuff, but he never texted me back. So
Ron Spomer?
Yeah.
Oh wow, he's got a big channel.
He does, and he's grown like leaps and bounds since then.
Was it? He was also like a big writer, big outdoor writer, right?
Yep, very, very, very big writer and a very good, very knowledgeable gentleman. Like if you don't know who Ron Spomer is, go check him out. But is what it is. The New York rifle and pistol case is what he's talking about.
He's talking about the pistol permit case. Yeah, I mean, I live in Pennsylvania now, so I don't know. I don't keep track of New York politics anymore, but I know that they're trying to basically make it easier to get a concealed carry permit in New York. So, because right now New York is like a may issue state, and they're trying to make it like more of a shall issue. So, yeah, I can't really comment because I don't live there anymore. Thank God. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. If something happens there, that would be a good indication of where the gun rights are going to be going in this country.
Yep. All right. Russia will attack Ukraine and China will attack Taiwan. When the time frame will be close together, they also sign a treaty pact with North Korea, Pakistan, and Iran. Yeah. And if Russia's going to attack Ukraine, they pretty much have to do it before mid-March. Possibly earlier than that, because those of you that don't live in like a cold place, you don't know the melt out in the mud on all those dirt roads and all those back roads and all those things. So, is what it is. So I just think that you know, if they're going to attack Ukraine, it's gonna be like. It wouldn't surprise me if they did it tomorrow morning after the talks, or after all the talks are done. It wouldn't surprise me if Friday they wouldn't roll across the border. Waiting is good for them and waiting is good for us and bad for them. Why wouldn't they just go ahead and do it?
Exactly.
Their troops are already there. If they're going to do it, they should do it by Friday. I mean, to be honest with you. If not, they're stupid. I mean. So that's my plan. I don't want them to, but that's what. Let's see. You own 3 boxes of 9mm. Do you go buy a Chimecom cam that surveys 24/7? I don't know. That's pretty valuable stuff, huh? Yeah. Good question. Lots of Scrotus questions of CMS vaccine. Yeah. Jason Driver says, how about them dogs? Yeah. Yeah. That was one of those games where I was rooting for both teams to just kind of kill each other and end up in a tie. But anyway, yeah, congratulations to you. Y'all played good. Good Stetson Bennett overcoming, you know. So, good job. Would outdoor cams give invaluable seconds to anybody about to get red flagged? Possibility.
Help you in court, maybe.
Yeah. I can tell you, might. That's one of the things that's one of the things I got to look into too. And Blitzkrieg for China, they've been doing proxy for like a year or so. What are we talking about there? All right, so more countries Putin's after. Any outside his border going to join NATO he wants to attack. You can't get them all. No invasions. Yep. Yeah. So for people who don't know what the filibuster is, you have to have enough people in Congress in order to vote on a law. So, like, not all 100% of them have to be there, but like 80 or something, 70, some be there. So, in order to have a filibuster-proof majority, you have to have like 62 out of or 7 seats out of the 50, out of the 100. I don't remember in the Senate. And basically, what that means is, so say there's 55 Democrats and 45 Republicans. If the Republicans don't want a bill passed, they don't show up when it's voted on. They just don't come, or they talk about it and for a long time, and they push it off and that kind of thing, because if they don't want it passed, they just don't do it. So, is what it is. Supreme Court just took an assault weapon bans case. China won't do anything until after the Olympics. Russia may wait as well. Bad PR in February if the world is watching. Now, that's a good point. That is a good point. But, they got to do it. They got to do it before the meltout. So meltout doesn't start here until mid-March at the earliest. I mean, I've seen it melt some in February, but like you're gushing mud, need a kayak to go down the street type of meltout doesn't happen until mid-March. Last year didn't happen until almost May, So it is what it is. They got to do that. What's your opinion on a good youth rifle and cartridge for Alaskan big game? The rifle is, personal opinion. I like that little Weatherby that I've seen at like Cabela's and stuff. It's about an $800 gun. The other option is to get like a Savage, the new 110 AccuFit stock. So you get buy an adult Savage 110, and you take the little spacer out in the AccuFit. Now you got a youth stock, but a full length barrel, so you don't lose anything. And so for something like that, I'm thinking, 6.5 Creedmoor will do Caribou, Black Bear just fine, no matter what people say about it. And doesn't kick at all. 7mm 08 kicks a little bit more, but gives you better selection. If you wanted to shoot a moose with the right bullet, you could, like a 145 grain LRX or something like that. 150. Check out my video last week on the 150 grain TTSX, I think it was. Like, I would have no issues with that 150 grain TTSX hitting a bear skull in the skull and going, taking them down. But that is what it is. So, those are the things I think would be good. Basically any youth rifle that you like is good, but a lot of the Savages are very accurate, and you got that spacer, and so then you can just put it in. Especially if you get a threaded barrel Savage with the spacer in it, then you can put a muzzle brake on it and basically shoot anything with a muzzle brake. You could load like 130 grain Barnes tip GSX for Caribou, and then you have a lightweight bullet. Doesn't have to go at max. Instead of going 3,300, it can send it at 31 and won't kick a shoulder with a muzzle brake. So a lot of good options there. If you're gonna do just like bear baiting or in the lower 48, like deer stand hunting, I would look at an AR-10, because they don't kick at all. And an AR-10 and 6.5 Creedmoor, or even 308, they don't kick at all compared to a bolt gun. And then you got the adjustable stock there. So that's something to think about. What do you think about that? What's your opinion on a good youth rifle?
Well, I don't live in Alaska, but I would say a 308 would be a good one, just because it's common and it's a good basic cartridge to learn how to shoot. And you know what I mean? It's been around a while. proven itself on a lot of stuff. You know, I mean, I don't think a youth is going to go brown bear hunting or anything, and 308 is good for moose, I'm sure. Especially you get the TTSX. You know, I've done some testing with that round. 308 TTSX. You know, you're getting good penetration with that. You know, like 168 grain Barnes Vortex or something like that. You get, you know, good ballistics with that. So yeah, I would say 308 would be good, and some kind of a bolt gun, something light. You know, like even like a Ruger American or something like that would be fine.
Yeah, I actually have the compact Ruger American 7mm 8 sitting right beside me. So now that you ask, yeah, it's like, and you can get it in 308, 7mm 8. 308 kicks a little harder than 7mm 8, in my opinion. So there is something to think about there. But it's a good round. Like my first deer I killed with 308. So is what it is. So, guy that comments says to Gabriel Madrid regarding the 24/7 surveillance, or they would be smart enough to cut off your power beforehand. Yeah, that's true. Checking in from Texas, got done with some low development today. 284 Winchester. That's a rare caliber. Like it's not as rare as it should be. It's a great caliber. 180 grain bullets that got to boogie out the barrel at 2750 feet per second. So that's starting to rival low 7 mag numbers there. Very low, but yeah, should be nasty medicine for whitetail down here. Yeah, definitely should be. What bullets will they expand very well? That's the question. But yeah, that's a great caliber. It's the first calibrator with the caliber with the rebated rim, so the body of the cartridge is wider than the rim, and so you can get more powder in. So when I shoot my 6.5 by 284, I mean that's the cartridge it was based on. Was that? So it's a great cartridge. Is Bergara going to release their new rifles in? I don't know. So I have not built the rifle yet. So that's like the 22-250 is like I got a lot of things to go on with the house. So the 22-250 the barrel has not been bought yet. So once the barrel is bought, I still got to buy a handguard, a gas tube, and a gas block, and something to go on the end of the barrel. So is what it is, like a flash hider. So is what it is. Yeah. Guns of Gear 308. Hey Greg, how much can you deadlift? He wants to know how much you can deadlift. So
my best ever was 765 in a meet. That was an American record, actually. That was in 2006 I did that. I don't know if it's still the record now, but 765, and I weighed 242 at the time. So that's nice. Now I probably do around 700, I would say. I haven't gone super heavy in a while, but I can do 585 for 8 with no belt. So probably close to 700 with a belt right now.
Yeah. I do not lift weights anymore. I got too many issues with my body, but I need to get back into it, you know. I was telling the kids today, you know, I might be able to squat 100 pounds now, you know. Somebody wants to play some handball with you.
Oh, yeah.
So, Gabriel Madrid, a battery-powered noise maker that goes off when the current gets broken. There you go. 20 depending on barrel twist. My 255 likes lighter bullets. Yeah, I'm getting a heavier barrel or heavier twist. There eventually. My first medium bore rifle was the Savage 110. Yeah, one. China and Russia will both go after Olympics and overwhelm the world and split attention after looking good on the world stage. Yeah, that's a good point. Sweet. All right. They weigh above 100 pounds. They can handle 100-pound recoil. I don't know about that.
100 pounds of recoil. That's like 2 458 lots.
I know, right? Been working up a load for my 338-06 improved. I meant to look at that. Going to use as my elk gun. Nice. When are you taking me elk hunting? Let's go elk hunting quest. All right, I'm gonna go elk hunting. Just stumbled across some 6.5 Grindle Barnes TTSS. I think 110 grain. There you go. Soak it up. Soak it up. That's why they make all those light Barnes bullets. I think they even make a 95 or 90 or something TTSX. That would be great. Maybe they don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm thinking of another caliber, but I got some in 270 caliber. I got 95 grain TTSX that they made for the 6.8 SBC2, the AR cartridge. And now that that's not that popular anymore, it's still pretty popular. But with the 95 grain, I think I can top 3,500 in feet per second in my 270. So,
wow, that's a lot.
Yep. And it's a bullet that it'll probably rip the petals off, but it'll still penetrate. So,
yeah, at that velocity, I'm sure.
Yeah, I did not see anything about the Bagara. No, I didn't. So, all right, let's see here. Alaskan Tane, nice to see you. Yee. Have you ever been Wolverine hunting with your uncle? No, and I'm not reading your screen name. So, what's up, Obnoxious One? It's good to see you. Move off the ground. There you go. All right, yeah. So, all right. Anytime in October. That's the month I cannot get away. Month I just can't get away. All right. So, let's talk. What are your top 5 guns every prepper needs to own? You have to limit it to 5. I can't. I can't personally, but what are your top 5 guns any prepper needs to own?
I'll start very general. So I'll say big bore revolver or Magnum revolver, 357 or bigger would be one. Some kind of semi-automatic handgun, whatever you prefer, whatever caliber you're good with. 12 gauge. I would, in my opinion, Remington 870 or Mossberg 500 or 590, just because those two shotguns have been either tested, like the Mossberg 500 was actually tested by the U.S. Army. Like, I think it was like 10 or 20 years ago. They were going to deploy it in the Middle East. So they did a whole bunch of testing with the Mossberg, and it had good results, So Remington 870, obviously been used for decades by, police. So that's been tested,
And military. It was like military before the Mossberg. So.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that would be big bore Magnum revolver, 357 or bigger. Some kind of semi-automatic, whatever you're good with. 12 gauge, either Mossberg 500, 590, or Remington 870. Then I would do some kind of AR. In my opinion, an AR. If you don't like ARs, then any other kind of reliable rifle. The key here is quality. You don't want to get like a $400 AK and think you're gonna survive a long-term situation with it just because you want to spend a good amount of money, get something good. The key is quality. Quality is the most important thing if we're talking about a grid down scenario. So some kind of semi-automatic rifle. I personally prefer AR-10, just because with the AR-10 you get more versatility. AR-15 you don't have the long range, you don't have the energy, the hunting capabilities, and then kind of a long range bolt gun. 30-06, 270, 300 Win Mag, 7mm Rem Mag, something like that. Those would be my top 5.
Cool. And and the 6th one would be some type of 22.
Yes. Yep. 22. Yeah. There you go. Yep.
Yeah. I'd have to put in my top 5. Like, I don't see the point of a big bore revolver if you have something else for what a a big bore revolver for like shit hits the fan scenario. A big bore revolver doesn't do much for me if I'm prepping in the lower 48. I don't see the point. Up here, I see the point because you have big things that can eat you. Revolvers are not typically stealthy. They're very difficult to suppress, and they don't suppress. I mean, if you had a threaded revolver, you could put a suppressor on it, but you're still going to get all that noise out of the cylinder gap, right?
Sure. Yep.
So, like, I don't see the point in them for prepping. Even up here, we're carrying 10 millimeters as our prepper gun and 9mm backups, so, and we're carrying 5.56, but 30 rounds of 5.56 is going to do better than me in my hands than me drawing a big bore revolver.
Sure.
Thing, I pull out my AR-10, or if I'm carrying that. Now, one of the things is if you had a bug out group, like you would want somebody to have like a hunting rifle as their main weapon, in my opinion. A precision bolt gun that could also be used for hunting, especially if everybody else is carrying an AR-15. You want somebody carrying, a 24-inch barrel 6.5 Creedmoor or something.
Yep.
No, I totally agree with you. 308 AR-10 is better than 223 5.56. In a lot of ways, but right now, like we would be going out with 223 5.56, and don't think you can't get range. I've made 600-yard shots with 223 5.56. That's not, doesn't do much when it gets out there. That's the difference.
Right.
But
right. Exactly. That's the thing. Well, the thing with the big bore revolver, it's not about the predators, the four-legged. It's about what happens. You got to think redundancy. What happens if, the good thing about revolvers is that they're not as sensitive with ammo. You don't have to worry about jamming. And also, SHTF, the traditional rules go out the window. You may want a handgun that can penetrate and behave like a rifle. A 9mm is in a whole different league than a 44. So if you're packing a 44 or even a 357, it's like having a light rifle that's the size of a pistol on your person. So if you have to penetrate through a car, through walls, whatever the situation is, body armor. I mean, you don't know if bad guys can get body armor too. If you hit a guy with a 44 Magnum or something like that, and they have body armor, they're going down, even if it doesn't penetrate. 9mm, it's just going to splatter. So that's the reason why the big bore, in my opinion, is on my list.
Yeah, I would put the 22 on before I put the big bore revolver.
I agree.
Revolver would be on top 10 for me, but all your points are great. I don't disagree with any of them. I just like, for me, we're going to be carrying. I might even buy another G40, to be honest with you, or I might buy a G20 and stick a G40 barrel in it. I'm gonna have like a 6-inch barrel 10mm on me, and I'm gonna be able to that's gonna be good enough for being better than a 9mm and being right there with 357 Magnum. I mean, you've seen all the comparison videos that I've done. They're right there, and 10mm has always won the penetration over a 357 Magnum. And now, granted, it does jam, but semi-autos actually do better when frozen. So if you get snow on it, and in it, that's working in the action works itself out. But if you get snow in the wrong spot in a revolver, it's a gunsmith.
It won't turn. Yep.
Yeah.
If you get like sand or some grain, some kind of grainy substance in there, it'll grind up inside and get jammed up. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I guess big bore for me, it's not like as important as the other ones, but it's a nice to have, I would say. Yeah. So you could replace a 22 instead of that one. It's just I like to know when the grid goes down. If I walk out the door with a big bore handgun, I feel pretty safe. It's basically like having a rifle in the palm of your hand. So that can be very useful in a lot of self-defense scenarios. Against two-legged threats. So
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I really think like the big bore revolver is like something. If I had to bug out with a bunch of people and some of them weren't were gun people, but didn't have like the collection I had, I would be like, here's my 44 mag to one of them, you know.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, here's my 357 mag to another.
Hmm.
And honestly, I bought the 357 Magnum for the channel, and I was going to use it as like a channel gun for a few years and then give it away on the channel. And then when Ruger redid it for me, I decided I'm going to keep that because it looks sweet. But yeah, that turned it from a channel throwaway gun to a family heirloom.
It's,
They
it's
did such
funny.
good.
I got a Glock 20 as a channel throwaway gun. You got a 357, so we're like opposite, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and honestly, a Glock 20 or a 300 Win Mag are my next purchases, and hopefully we can see what it is.
Hmm.
Alaskan tanks says 1, 2, and 3 should be the same caliber magazine as your local police departments. Breakdown of lay on the law, sharing mags, etc. Might be laying around. Well, 1, 2, and 3 are the same caliber as my local police departments. 5.56. So for me, I would say a 223 AR, especially if you live near a military base or have a large police force in your area, because that's going to be 5.56 going to be laying around. Again, 9mm Glock or 9mm of what your local whatever your local department handgun, but a semi-automatic handgun. I would say you want a 22 rifle, and if you want any gun suppressed out of all of those, it's the 22 rifle. You want a suppressor on it, because they are so amazingly quiet when you are taking game. So I have taken squirrels and grouse with the 22 suppressor while big game hunting and stuff like that. And you're not going to scare everything for 500 yards away from you. Yes, it does make noise, but I hunt with 22 sonic 22 all the time. As soon as my rib heals, I'm going to be up the mountain hunting grouse across my house, hopefully. So yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah, I'd like to make I'd like to make a case for the AR-10 and 308. I think that's a very overlooked SHTF gun, just because it has a lot of the benefits of a 5.56 from a prepper's perspective in terms of scavengeability, because 7.62 by 51 is a NATO standard round, just like 5.56 is. So you'll be able to find 308 7.62 by 51, but you're going to get much more power, you know, much more range. You know, I mean, you can do multiple things with the AR-10. It could be a designated marksman gun. It could be a CQB gun. It could be a hunting gun. You know what I mean? So you have multiple things in one rifle. You know, so it's one thing I just wanted to say.
Yeah, I love the AR-10. I think you're absolutely right. A good AR-10 is going to start you at $1,200, whereas a good AR-15 you can still get around $600-700. Less than that for a Palmetto State that work. I mean, would I take a Palmetto State to Afghanistan tomorrow? No, but would it work for a while for basic home defense? Absolutely, they do. So like I absolutely get what you're saying, but I have a high quality AR parts that I built, and I'm less than 900 into that thing. And so that again, of course, I'm like $2,800 into my AR-10 right now. My AR-10 is a 6.5 Creedmoor, because I already had 6.5 Creedmoor laying around the house a bunch. And I had, I had 2 bolt guns already. And so it was like, well, if I'm getting an AR-10 and my choices are, I can buy that 308 upper or this 6.5 upper, I'm going to buy this 6.5 upper right now. And the reason for that was simple, was to have some type of heavier thing. Like I would like to get to the point where if me and my wife need to bug out, she has the 6.5 AR-10 and I have my 6.5 Bergara. And then that way we're both carrying 6.5 and both
interchangeable. Yep.
Yeah. And now my Bergara takes the ACIS pattern mags, and hers, the AR-10 takes the DPMS 308 style, LR 308 style pattern, SR25 style mags.
SR25, yep.
And so, is what it is. But and I've got the AR-10. It's an 18-inch barrel Creedmoor, and I've got it. Haven't sighted in the scope, and I got all that to do. But I've got it set up with a 1 to 6 first focal plane. So on 1 power, it looks like a freaking red dot. And on
Yep.
6 hour, it's got all these mills and stuff. So you can
Yep.
still take your 6, 7, 800-yard shot. And what I've chronographed it so far, you're losing 150, 200 feet per second in the 18-inch barrel, but your ballistic
Worth it.
coefficient makes up for it to be a viable round out to 400, 500, 600 yards, which is all you're doing in
Easily.
that gun.
Yeah.
Whereas the 1,300-yard shot I'll take with my Bergara. But
Plus, the one thing I will say is a lot of people, they get these like 24, 26, 28-inch barrel rifles, and it's great if you just shoot on a bench, but I'm sure you can attest to this living in Alaska, having to carry a 24, 26-inch barrel rifle in the woods all day long. It can be a pain, if you have a 20-inch barrel, 16, 18-inch barrel, if we're talking prepping, and you have to do patrols all day, it's going to make a big difference, especially clearing rooms and stuff.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the longer barrel, though. I guess it's just because my 6.5 by 284 Norma, instead of having a 22-inch barrel or having a 24-inch barrel, it has a 26, and I'm going to get everything that a 6.5 PRC is going to get that has a 24-inch barrel, because that's all you can find on the shelf.
Right.
Now, that's a rare caliber. My 7 mag has a 26-inch barrel, so most of the time I get 100, 150, 200 feet per second more than what the box says, because the 7 mag's all slow burning powder, so every inch counts.
Absolutely makes a huge difference. Yep,
it's a huge difference. And I've carried my 7 mag 15 miles, and it's not the lightest gun. It's a Remington 700 ADL, and I put the mag pull stock on it, which I've had a big video on the channel, and by golly, that thing's heavy as can be. And that mag pull stock is wonderful. Like, it's great. It's bedded correctly, and if you torque it down correctly and find the right ammo, that thing's shot as low as 0.35 inches center hole to center hole for me. And I can't argue with that. In my hunting load, so I like a long barrel for bugging out. I don't like a long barrel for bugging in. And that's why you own both. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Bugging in. Yeah.
So, and our next question here says, NYPrepper, we've seen Chuck's survival setup. Yeah, I have a Alaskan survival bag video that I did with Alaska Frontier 1, a great little Alaska prepping channel and survival channel. If you haven't met him yet, but so we did one together, and he's got some good things and suggestions, but mine was basically my herbalist stock pack.
Okay.
And I love my herbalist stock pack. I have the Gunslinger 2, and I had my 1022 in the back, and all sorts of stuff in the pack as a kind of my goal was a 72-hour survival. Some food, some things mostly for warmth, extra long underwear, extra socks. 3 ways to start a fire: matches, lighter, gutting gloves.
That's smart.
Yeah. Knives, sharpeners, that kind of thing. Just, not something, and it's something I can grab and go. And, but the other thing about it is like, that's also my hunting bag. Like,
I do the same thing.
Everything I need in it, I also need for hunting here in Alaska. And so like, I'll throw my hunting rifle in instead of the 1022, and then break the 1022 down. Well, I don't own that gun anymore. I sold it to Chook. Put that gun down and put it inside the bag. So is what it is. So
it's a good setup.
Yeah. What's your kind of bug out bag survival setup?
I actually have a very small bug out bag. I don't have like a huge, 50-pound pack or any 80-pound pack. Mine is very small. I have it's like 20 liters, 23-liter pack. So it's small, it's like the size of like a school book bag, a book bag you'd wear in grade school. And I just have a lot of the same stuff you mentioned. Stainless steel canteen is critical, so you can boil water and cook stuff with it. Like here, we have a lot of oak trees. So if, let's say, I have to scavenge, I could grab a bunch of acorns and boil out the tannins from them. I can't do that if I don't have a canteen or something to boil them in, So your 5Cs. I've done videos on it. I'll do an updated video on it. But yeah, I have a bug out bag. It doesn't weigh much. It's like less than 20 pounds. I don't jam a lot of crap in there. I try to keep it under 20 pounds because I figure, at least for me, number one, it's easier to carry that every day. Like, let's say I'm going somewhere, if I have to grab like a 60-pound pack and throw it in my car every time I go somewhere, I'm not going to be bringing it with me that often. Eventually I'm just going to get sick of it. And that's what actually happened when I had my first bug out bag. When I first started prepping like 10 years ago, I had this like 60-pound pack. And after a while, I realized, yeah, this is great if I have to go like 60 miles with it. It's got everything, but carrying it with me every day, it's just not feasible, And so I said, let me downsize it. And so now I'm at the point where my bag is around 20 pounds, give or take 5 pounds. And it's pretty much the same thing as my hunting pack now. So like when I go deer hunting or bear or whatever, I'll just use that as my hunting pack. I'll just swap a couple things out. I'll throw a sandwich in there instead of my protein bars, and stuff. And so, yeah. Yeah, I'll do a detailed video on it again, but I have a video up on my channel. So.
Absolutely. So awesome, man. Yeah. All right. And 22 LR. Yep. Don't worry. 22 LR is my pack. Now, the one thing about packs that make them heavy is ammo. If you're like me and you want to carry all the ammo you can, you're going to have that 70, 80 pound pack. I mean, is what it is.
Yep. Yeah, ammo's heavy.
You guys in different time zones. Yeah, we're in different time zones, my friend. All right.
4 hours. 4 hours, yeah.
So you need to use the same bullet, 308 or 223 and 308. Yeah. A lot of good list here. AR handgun at 9mm above, 3 pump shotgun, light 1,000 yard bolt gun, 5 a fun gun. Yeah. So, yeah, we got a lot of good lists here. James Hine, 5.56, 308, 22 LR, 12 gauge, and 357 mag with 9mm moon clips. I don't think you can run 9mm and 357 Magnum, even with moon clips. You have to have a separate cylinder.
I'm not sure either. Yeah, I think you're right. Because it isn't 357 is rimmed, so 9mm not. So how would that work? Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what moon clips are for. But
yeah.
But I don't think the shape of the casing will allow you to put it in there. Yeah, I wouldn't fire a 9mm through a 357 myself. No way. Mine would be 22 LR, 30-06, 44 mag, 400 Smith & Wesson, and 300 blackout. And there you go.
It's a nice loadout.
Yeah. What's up, Drop It Like Scott? Sorry, we just gotten carried away. 22 LR can only hunt rabbit and squirrel. Not cool to take down a deer with it. No, but people have taken down moose with it for survival. So, I mean, if you can ear hole something, everything's got an ear hole. So, that's the way I see it. Everything's got an ear hole. So, if you can hit it right in the head, there you go.
I had a friend of mine when I was growing up. He would kill does with, white-tailed does with 22 all the time. He would get real close and just aim for the head, he told me. So never had a problem. It was like his favorite thing to do, actually. They dropped dead right there. So
considered poaching, but yes.
Well, I think in New York at the time, they didn't have caliber restrictions for deer. So
yeah. There you go. Take a Glock 17 over the revolver. Agreed. Everyone has a Glock. You can get parts. Everyone has a 9mm. Yeah, I agree. So, see, Bald and Curious. Most body opera will stand a 44 mag. Yep, that's true. Now, here, Bald and Curious. Here's what though. There are rounds. Those really lightweight rounds that you can get that will withstand level. That will go through like level 3A in 10mm, 9mm, 357. Sometimes even 9mm it'll go through because it's like it's not meant to go through armor, but it's like those 50 grain bullets going 2,200 feet per second. They'll go through pistol rated body armor. So
I'd like to make a quick comment. Yeah, I actually did a test with level 3 body armor on my channel last year. with the 500 Magnum. I shot like every load you can imagine, hard cast, solids, flat nose at the level 3. And we're talking about 44, not 500 Magnum, but you guys should have seen like the divots or whatever you'd call it, the dent, after the 500 Magnum would hit that level 3. Yeah, it didn't penetrate it, but your ribs and your internal organs after one shot are going to be jello, and obviously
there's a thing called a trauma pad. A lot of people run that trauma pad, which is a thick thing to absorb the shock underneath. And so a lot of people run those, especially if you run steel plates. A lot of people run those. And so you may get turned inside, you may not. That's one of my next orders is trauma pads for all of ours. So that's that.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, the thing is too, like well-placed shots with the 9mm versus 44 Magnum, less. Yeah, I've heard that comment a lot. Like people say, well, you get less follow-up shots with a Magnum handgun, but you don't really need them, You don't need 5 shots to bring someone down with a 44, so.
There is that. That's true. You might need 5 well-placed shots with 9mm. Why you say no AK? No AK? I didn't say no AK. AK is great. The reason why I would carry an AR, and I live where the guns freeze, so don't get me wrong. Excuse me. Is that my ARs shoot sub MOA? Every one I have with the load rounds that are in it shoot sub MOA. AKs don't do that. So if I need to make that ear hole shot on a moose at 200 yards, I can do it. An AK isn't going to do an ear hole shot on a moose at 200 yards. Okay. Through a body shot? Yes. Will it kill it through a body shot? Yes. Will you be tracking it for miles? Yes. So just be careful. That's why I say I'm not an AK guy. I would like to have an AK. It's just not right now. It's not in the financial picture unless all y'all join Patreon or all of y'all share my videos and stuff. So it's just not there in the financial picture right now, especially with Russian ammo not being able to come in here. So it's one of those.
Yeah, I'm not anti-AK, just to let people know. I'm not against AKs. I just think that some of those AKs, you really got to know what you're buying. If you're getting like a Milsurp AK from, who knows where, you don't want to get something that's junk. You're better off just getting an AR in that case. Everything's made here and it's good. Yeah.
Here's a good question. What do you think of the heavier 257 bullets coming out? I've seen a few 133 to 135 grain bullets. I've only seen the 131 being made. Do you think the quarter bore will finally get a revolver? It makes me want a fast twist rate 2506. So it's a great idea, like everything else, but you're talking about a custom gun. Like you're talking about a custom build to get a 25-06 or a 257 Weatherby or 257 Roberts plus P. You're talking about a custom build rifle in order to get, so you're talking 2, 3, 4 grand in order to get what, a 6.5 Creedmoor or 6.5 PRC already gives you. 6.5 PRC is what, 7 thousandths of an inch more. And you already get that ballistic coefficient, if not even a little better. So, yeah, I don't see the point of it. It's not going to make a comeback because the 6.5 Creedmoor, they made their name on the BC, so now everybody else wants a higher BC for theirs. Not going to make a comeback. It would be fun. It'd be great. It would outdo the Creedmoor by far. Right now, if you both have 22-inch barrels, the Creedmoor and the 25-06 are neck and neck. All right. One sometimes gets more energy than the other, and you wouldn't think it. Now, if they both have 24 or 26-inch barrels, the 25-06 does better, and that's where you want that longer barrel in that overboard caliber. So something to think about. But no, it's not going to make a comeback. I think it's definitely going to be better. It'll be fun. It's definitely a great thing for that caliber, but you can't. If I bought a Savage 25-06 Axis a few years ago that I used as a gun giveaway because I got a really good deal on that Axis 2 on a Black Friday. And so I bought that gun. I think I ended up getting it for dirt cheap. And it was like stupid dirt cheap. And I bought that gun and put a new scope on it. I did a couple videos with it. And then I gave it away on the channel because 25-06 is not something I wanted to be invested in. And basically, like, if you're going to go pick up an off-the-shelf rifle, you can't use those bullets because of the twist rate. So, I mean, you got to have a 1 in 8 twist for those bullets, and that's a custom-made barrel. So, buy a Savage Axis, buy a custom-made barrel. Now I'm into how many thousands of dollars in the gun? No, I wouldn't say that would be a good idea. You got any thoughts on that, NYPrepper?
I don't really know much about 25-06, to be honest. That's out of my wheelhouse. Sorry.
Yeah. Ammo availability, scavenger ability is one of the top things to look at for. Yep. The one factor everybody forgets, how heavy ammo is. Yep. All right. Can you survive with a 22 Alaska, bring down a polar or grizzly if need be? Not if it's attacking you and charging you. It wouldn't be a good one. No. Could you survive because that is so rare? Yes, you could. You could survive because that's very, very rare. There are times I go hunting and the only long gun I'm carrying is a 22. But I have a 44 mag and a 10 millimeter on me always.
Are you guys aware of the Phil Shoemaker?
Yeah, the 9 millimeter guy. The guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that a lot on this channel, and even he says you shouldn't do it.
Right. Yep.
Even he said it was stupid.
Yep.
You should bore them to death with 22. Yeah. There we go. Now is a great time to build more AR-10s. Components cheap, available. Yeah, that's true. AR-10s are great gun. All right. So, all right. Military is going to 6.8 contracts and are signed and paid for ammos and optics for the new 6.8. Yeah, in GSW. Yeah, I've seen that. It's going to be a great round, great guns for our military, and there may or may not be civilian versions for us. Who knows? I'm sure SIG would put them out, but who knows? Oh, yeah. So anyway, they're 30 miles with a 100-pound loadout, easy. Yeah. Now, one thing about Alaska is you also have the in the winter you have the opportunity to use pack sleds. So I mean, you can drag a sled behind you, and while it's not very stealthy because you could leave a big path, nothing you do in the snow is very stealthy. In fact, if you want to be stealthy in the snow, the thing to do is move during a big blizzard. Where it's,
I was just going to say that. Yep.
That's
Cover
the
up
only
your
thing
tracks.
to do. Cover your tracks, and even then, if you're got snowshoes on and you're pulling a drag sled, you're still going to see the snow right across here going whoop.
Right.
Yeah. Snow going, whoop,
yeah.
Even then, so move on paths, and then that is 24-inch 308. There you go. Oh man, they are getting into a good debate.
Good velocity with that 24-inch 308.
Yeah, you will do that. So, yeah, man, they're getting a big, water prep. All right, let's talk about this. So, water prep. For me, water is pretty easy. I mean, Alaska's so wet and so much fresh water. So I carry a filter, and I carry that little thing you wind up with the UV in it. What is that called again?
Is it the SteriPen?
Yeah, the SteriPen.
Those are great.
Yeah, I carry both of those, and I have extremely sensitive stomach with my gluten, dairy, soy free, all this other crap that I can't eat, and like beans I can't eat, and anything like that. So I have a really, really sensitive stomach, and I can drink water after doing those two things. Like there are brands of water at the store in bottles I won't drink because they give me the runs.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And most tap water will give me the runs, but I can drink filtered in a lake. In fact, I can drink just filtered with my Katadine.
Okay.
So, like, I think that's a big thing. I'm gonna order a couple extra filters for it.
Mhm.
You know, have a couple extra filters for it. I haven't used it that much, so it's like, you know, I still got several thousand gallons I can do before I'm in trouble.
Yep.
In the winter, it's even easier. All you got to do is melt snow and
Yep.
boil it.
Exactly. Yep.
Melt snow and boil it. Just don't melt any yellow snow. That's all you got to know. Or
Yeah.
brown.
Or
Brown things
brown. I
like
was just gonna say brown.
yeah. Or red. But
Red's
there's a
got
lot
some
of red.
iron though. Depends
Yeah,
on what kind of red soil. Red
if
snow.
there's red snow around, you're in bigger problems. But you know, so that's that.
Yeah. Yeah, I have Sawyer minis, and then I have the chlorine dioxide tablets because
Mhm.
chlorine dioxide is, for many people don't know, but it's much better than iodine. It can actually kill Giardia and Cryptosporidium if you let it have like 4 hours of contact time. So what I actually do is I have 2 containers for water in my survival pack. I have my steel canteen, and then I have a water bladder. So this way I can treat one container while I'm drinking out of the other, because to get that 4 hour contact time, if you blow through all your water and then you find another water source, you're gonna have to wait 4 hours to drink again. So chlorine dioxide is really good. That's much better than iodine. If you use chlorine dioxide, you actually don't even really need a filter. It's not as effective as a filter, but it's also chlorine dioxide. You could use it in the winter versus filters you can't use in the winter. And then obviously you can melt snow too. So
Yeah. There you go. All right. Take protein bars. That way the dryness causes you to choke and suffocate and don't deal with bugging out anymore. Well, that's one way to look at it. Jeez. Yeah. Yeah.
do you guys have Giardia up there?
Oh yeah, we got Giardia and Cisporia, whatever, both of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. You don't want to drink it pure. Um. Yeah. There we go. Hi, Broken Patriot. How's it going? Duck Duck. How's it going, man? You can shoot 9mm through a 357. It wouldn't be really accurate because of the bullet jump, but it will work. Yeah, I wouldn't do it, but yeah, I guess if you had to.
I'm not a smiling person.
Thank you, Laura. I think.
It's funny.
Best wishes, fellas. I am old, tired, and a big day tomorrow. Good night, my friends. Good night, Kentucky Patriot. He's probably already off, but it is what it is. We listed our top 5 guns again: 44 mag, 5.56, 12 gauge pump, 10mm, and Enfield 303 British proven battle rifle. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it is what it is.
I always tell people you should have some manually operated firearms in your SHTF
Absolutely.
gun kit, because
Absolutely.
manually operated firearms, number one, you don't need mags for it. It has internal mags like a bolt gun, revolver, pump action, internal mag, so you don't have to worry about scavenging mags every time, and running out. And then, much more reliable, obviously, especially long term, like a good bolt gun. I mean, there's really very few things that can go wrong with a good bolt gun, pump action shotgun, same thing. It's just, if we're talking like end of the world, where things are bad for a year or more, you want something that can go the long distance, and semi-autos, yeah, they're reliable for sure, but I mean, a good bolt gun, yeah, you don't have the volume, you can't dump 30 rounds quick, but it's going to go through a lot of crap before it fails you,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is one thing. Now, most of my bolt guns do have detachable magazines.
Okay.
That's where a lever gun comes in handy, though.
Lever gun too. Yep.
Lever
Exactly.
gun. Yeah.
They're
In
pretty
fact,
quick.
if I were going to pick one of my 22s, it might be a lever gun, or a
That's a
bolt
good
gun.
option.
Yeah. The problem is with lever guns is you can't really suppress them. You can. Okay. They're great suppressor hosts as far as sound quality is concerned. But a 22, that tube on the end of it comes all the way out to near the end of the barrel. You can't take the tube out; it hits the suppressor a lot of times. So it's an interesting conundrum. So so 500 Smith & Wesson Sabots. Oh, now that's an idea. Yeah, there you go. I run the polyurethane armor. It's only pistol rounds, but not worried about getting into a rifle fight. Dude, you live here in Alaska, Teddy Two Guns, and Russia might get into war with Ukraine soon. You might want to think about that. And besides, Spanard, North Anchorage. I mean, there's a reason why they call it Los Anchorage. I mean, so it's like Los Anchorage.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that.
Alaskan, you do know NY has a Crying Wolf channel. Yeah, sure.
Me.
Me too, man. Me too. Be nice. All right. Polyethylene, you mean? Yes, polyethylene, not polyurethane. yeah. We knew what he meant. Yeah.
Polyurethane.
I would take my M4 into the woods, but if I cycle across my back with thick woods, we'll sweep the safety off. Maybe. That happens with any type of weapon, though. You get into the right brush. I've seen safeties go off on Remington 700s or even 12 gauge shotguns, Remington 870s. You hit something right in the woods.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So that's
got that little bump. The buttons right on the trigger, so you just tap it against something. And
don't squirt water in your gun freezer, in freezer conditions, and y'all be fine. Yeah, that is correct. All right. Somebody running plates wouldn't take out of the fight with an abdomen shot, maybe psychologically, but not physiologically. That's correct. But there are artery shots that begin in seconds the most. Yep. But might be enough to keep pulling a trigger. Yeah, that's true. $500 optic versus $300,000 optic. Let's talk about that. Well, I mean, depends on what you're doing with it. I would say definitely want to look at what you like. I haven't found a $3,000 optic that gives me better glass than my $1,500 optic. I have a $1,500 optic. I have a Leupold VX5 HD 3-15 with the Impact 29 MOA reticle. I can shoot 1,000 yards and to compensate for wind in my reticle with my 7 mag. Actually, almost 1,100 yards. I don't have to do any dial on top, and that's what I wanted in a hunting rifle. No dialing, because I don't want it to accidentally get knocked off or be dialed the wrong way in a hunting situation. I want to do everything in the reticle. I'm not going to shoot more than 500 yards anyway.
Exactly.
But the 7 mag as a bug out gun becomes a really, really nice long range instrument, as accurate as it is, and with all that data in the scope. So is what it is. So like I'd say I haven't found a $3,000 optic where everything was brighter, clearer than my $1,500 Leupold VX5 HD. Now, are there better glass out there? Sure, but my eyes, colorblind and 2019 vision and that kind of thing, don't see as any better out of a $3,000 optic than I do my $1,500 optic. Now, my $1,500 optic compared to my $200 optic, oh yeah, way big difference. I mean, it's not even though my $200 optic is a Leupold and my $1,500 optic is a Leupold, even though they're both Leupold, they both and the $200 Leupold is way better looking than the $200 Vortex. Don't get me wrong. I'd say, there's a huge difference. So get what you can afford in an optic. I have a $500 Leupold that is as nice as I'll ever need on my 338 Win Mag. I've got an $800-ish Nikon on my precision gun, and it's as nice as I'll ever need. Does my $1,500 Leupold look better than my $800 Nikon? Yes, it does. Does my $800 Nikon look better than my $200 when I look through it than my $200 Leupold? Yes, it does. So something to think about.
I actually have 2 Athlon scopes, and they're like 500 to 600. I have one on my 300 Win Mag, and I have one on my elephant gun, my 416 Ruger. I've put hundreds of rounds through both of those guns, probably 200 to 300 rounds minimum through the elephant gun. Never had any issue at all with that Athlon. And, you know, I think the whole thing about like brand name, to a certain degree, it's, you know, obviously there's some, you know, brands that are much better than others, but don't, like, I would just tell people, don't overlook something just because it's, you know, a certain brand. So it has to be crappy or it has to be good if it's this brand. Because I took a chance on the Athlon. I'm not sponsored by them, but I, like I said, I never had any issues with it. The glass is great. I only paid $500 for it. And then I got a Burris Extreme Tactical for my other, I have two 300 Win Mags, and I have one that's more like tactical setup. And the Burris Extreme Tactical was like $1,300. And I accidentally broke it the first day I was trying to zero it. And I never had that problem with the $500 Athlon. And so it's like sometimes those higher end scopes are actually more fragile than the lower end scopes, you know, but I wouldn't just because something's more expensive doesn't mean it's, you know, that much more better, you know? So.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, there are some scopes in that high range that are finicky. There's
Right.
people that when it first came out had issues with Night Force. Night Force is great. Don't get me wrong; they're great now, but like, is what it is. So, not that. Now, here's a good question, and I've wanted one. Or here's a good question right now: AR-10 or Divorce 7? I'm going AR-10 simply because one thing about a bullpup design in a 308 is in an AR-10 or in a bolt gun, you have, you know, that much stock to help absorb recoil. You have that much stock in a bullpup design to help absorb recoil. You are going to feel more recoil in a 308 bullpup. That being said, I've shot one, and I might be full of crap too. So it just depends on the design of that gun. Also, you know, 308 is a large caliber to bullpup, so you're talking about ejection patterns and all sorts of stuff. How do you get a big round out of that area? And so it's going to be heavier, unbalanced. It's going to be really back heavy gun, which is better than a front heavy gun, which an AR-10 tends to be a little front heavy as a gun. So that being said, you can find parts and mags and everything you need for an AR-10 a lot better. I say go AR-10. If you've got $2 or $3 grand to spend on a Divorce 7, I don't know what they cost right now, but I'm assuming they're expensive. Go AR-10, because then you can afford 2 or 3. You can afford the AR-10 plus all the ammo that you would have spent on the Divorce 7. You know,
Plus an optic and accessories, bipod, all that, iron sights.
Yeah. So, and you know, it's a good looking rifle. I mean, it's a nice rifle. I mean, they take the same mags. So, I mean, it's a DPM SLR 308 Stan mag type thing. You know, standard magazine, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah. Okay, the comments. Scred is pretty. What kind of cryptocurrency is that? Tell you what, if crap hits the fan, I'll show you. All right. 7x57. There you go. Man, if you live in Alaska, Duck, we need to get together. I need to do some videos with you. Don't forget about the Glock 22, 23, and 40 cal. I'll get the 9mm conversion barrel 2 for 1. Yeah, in an ammo shortage like this, that's not a bad way to go. The only thing is because the 40 cal is bigger, you have to change your extractor too to be 100% reliable. Now, a lot of people have no problems without changing the extractor, but you know, you're talking about something that's designed to extract something this big. Now it's got to extract something this small. It's going to be hard. Same thing with people doing 45 to 10mm conversions. So, here's what it is. All right. Now, what was that next question I was going to get to? Oh, Honky Con. Here we go. Bought a Ruger PC9 takedown recently. It's fun to play with, but I'm curious as to its capability. What's the largest game that you think it could safely take down? What ammo are you running through it is question number one. Like, that's a question that reserves a question. If you can run the 9mm 147 grain hard cast through it, then you can take down anything you want to. You got to put it through the, you know, everything has an ear hole. like I said earlier. Would I want to go after grizzly bear with that? No. Would I want that to be my primary gun during grizzly bear country? No. All right. But if that was my bug out gun and I had that in my pack, and or I gave that gun to a friend who didn't have one and said, here, and it had the right ammo in it, could it take down moose, grizzly bear, deer? Yes. Yes, it could. Would I go above deer with that personally for hunting purposes? No. Would I go with deer with that? Yes. I'd want a 147 grain. And I'd probably want a hard cast, or I'd maybe go the 115 extreme penetrators for deer or extreme defenders, but that's going to be a light bullet. Again, ear holes. Like I would not take a 9mm carbine like out that deer hunting and try to shoot it through the body. It's a headshot, upper neck, brain stem shot right in there. Even when I took my 5.56 deer hunting, I've killed deer with my killed 6 deer with my 5.56.
Oh wow!
Yeah, right here.
Wow.
Right here's where you put the bullet.
Yeah, neck shot. Yep.
Right there, right at the base of the brainstem. And they do a thing. And I was using 55 grain VMAX. Mm-hmm. So they just go splat,
Yep.
Because it's the only caliber shot. Multiple
neck
deer.
Shots are like an old school. I know a lot of old timers at my old range. They swore by neck shots for deer. They love it, Oh
yeah, they drop instantly. You don't ruin any meat because the neck meat sucks.
Yep.
I'd much rather ruin the neck meat than rib meat and the ribs and the shoulders.
Yep.
So do what you got to do, but yeah, neck shots are where it's at. I've shot one of the does. I shot through the shoulder, and she fell. Mm-hmm. She got back up after I put a finishing shot in another doe that was still twitching. Mm-hmm. And when she got back up, I put the next one in the neck, and she fell again. And I ended up killing 3 does at once that night with my AR-15.
Jeez. Was that in Alaska or was that down south?
That was in Georgia before I moved up here. So
I was going to say
24-308. Can't, yeah. All right. Let's see. Question for you both. Having debate with a retired friend, MP5 or AR pistol, taking into consideration we are civilians, so semi-auto only in a suburban area.
Good question. It's tough.
Yeah.
I would still take
both.
Yeah.
Both.
Tough one. I would go with AR pistol for me.
I'm thinking, I'd rather have an MP5, all things considered, but what can you get a hold of? What can you get ammo for? What can you find the parts for? What is a lot cheaper to build? AR pistol. So, that being said, there's a reason why there's an AR pistol on my channel and not an MP5. So, $700 versus $1,700 minimum for the copy. So is what it is. So, and even out of the short barrel, and I'm saying 10.5. You don't go less than 10.5 on an AR pistol, and you can get away with less on a 9. That's the thing. And you might look at something like if you want the 9mm, you might like something like a Foxtrot Mike AR pistol in 9mm. It takes Glock mags. I would say. Like one thing about the AR pistol, you still get 750 to 800 foot-pounds in a 10.5-inch barrel. You don't get that in a 9mm pistol ever. I think you can raise it up. Like we were getting out of my buddy's CZ Scorpion, we were getting like 1420-ish on 124 grain plus P. I don't remember the video, so if you do 1420 times 1420 times the 124 grains, all of that divided by the constant of 450,240, you come up with 555 foot-pounds of energy. So, like, even with like the energy difference is still going to be there. Like, you'd have to cut it down to like a 7-inch AR and a 7-inch 9mm to start comparing the two as far as energies are concerned. But the speed will still be even faster, and then the speed will be there, so defeat pistol body armor easier. So it just depends on what you really want to do. The other thing about this is you say you're taking into consideration you're in a urban environment, semi-automatic only with civilians. That means there's a lot of civilians around. A ballistic tip 223 will break apart and not go through as much stuff. Now, if you're shooting full metal jackets, obviously it's going to go through more. But if you're like me and you've hand loaded a whole bunch of ballistic tips, which you can do, I mean, ballistic tips aren't that expensive. You know, hand load yourself a whole bunch of VMAXs, and out of that short barrel, it should still be a viable self-defense round. Now, you want to go 60 grain, you know, you want to go a heavy VMAX. Should be a viable self-defense round and still get you 750, 800 foot-pounds of energy. And then if it won't go through your target and through multiple targets, a 9mm could. And the other thing about a 9mm, like an MP5, you have a 7-inch barrel gun like that, or some type of thing, tight carbine, PCC, PC, pistol, AR pistol or something with a 7, 8, 9-inch barrel. That 9mm is going to gain velocity and therefore shred. If it's a hollow point, it's going to shred faster. And some of them are picky on what hollow points they feed. It's not like a 9mm pistol. So that's that. So what would you go, NYPrepper?
I agree. Like an AR and 9mm, I think, honestly, people underestimate how many walls, a 5.56 can go through. I mean, I've shot 44 specials through 17 sheets of drywall, and buckshot I've shot through 10 sheets of drywall. So you definitely don't want anything in 223 unless, like you said, the ballistic tips. I would do that.
Tips will go through a lot of drywall unless you hit your target.
Right.
If you hit your target, And the other thing about it is, like, a realistic house is still going to have like pictures and TVs and stuff like that on
furniture.
The wall. So, furniture. So it still has to go through that, and that actually usually does more damage to the bullet than walls.
Right. I would be a little nervous in a suburban area with a 223. If we're talking like a very congested suburban area where your neighbor is like 5 feet away, on all sides, I would go with something 9mm, or like you said, the ballistic tip. That's your best option, in my opinion.
Now, if you're talking about a suburban area where you're in a cul-de-sac in a big neighborhood area, I'd go 5.56, and I would actually go 16-inch carbine in that area, because people don't understand. People don't go out and play with a laser rangefinder, but if you've got a street with 40 houses on it in a neighborhood, you can have 400 and 500-yard shots easy.
Absolutely.
Range. People don't realize that.
Yep.
Like,
absolutely.
You think it's 50 yards to your neighbor's house, and then all of a sudden, if you range it, it's 70 yards, it's 80 yards. I mean, people grossly miscalculate distances, and it is pretty interesting. And it's not that hard to hit out to 300 yards, but past then, the wind actually starts to really pick up and really make a
huge difference
curve on the bullet.
Yep.
Even I've shot 223 in really gusty, almost pre-hurricane condition winds before, and we were inland, 200 miles inland before the hurricane was coming, and we were out of the range, and it was pretty gusty that day. And at 200 and 300 yards, the bullet was getting to the target before the wind could affect it. At 500 yards, it was blowing it 8 feet off, and this is like 20, 30 mile an hour gush, right?
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Like we were shooting milk jugs, and I was trying to compensate for the wind at 300 yards. Miss. Put it dead on. Boosh.
Wow.
And then
8 feet. Crazy.
Yeah. At 500 yards, it was hard to hit.
Jeez.
No wind or very little wind. That's it's not that hard. So it is what it is. So.
Another thing too is, even if you have a 5.56 in a suburban area, you can also set up like fields of fire. Like, where are you going to shoot? What directions do you have no neighbors, or maybe some kind of a hill or something that's going to catch the bullet? What direction do you know? Okay, I have a neighbor right there on the east side of the house, so I know if the bad guy comes in, I'm not going to shoot in that direction. You know what I mean? Like that could be something to do, you know?
Yeah, know your target, what's behind it for sure.
Exactly. Hunter safety.
Yeah, if it's a suburban area and you've got like a wooded lot and stuff like that, you go 5.56. If it's more you're in an apartment suburban area and it's an apartment, yeah,
Right.
you might go 9mm. I'd still go 5.56, but I would concentrate on gaining enough ballistic tips and not just shooting full metal jackets. That's me.
Yeah, no full metals for sure. Yeah, that would be
no full metals.
too risky.
Yep.
Do you ever have any feeding issues with those ballistics tips? That would be another thing to consider too.
No. Oh gosh, no.
No feeding issues?
Oh my gosh, they feed better in full metal jackets.
Oh wow.
Yeah. No, I'll take that back. It was 7 degrees. It was Cabela's Herder's ammo that wasn't hand loaded by me. It wasn't that hot. It wasn't as hot as it needed to be. And I had one failure to blow it all the way back and extract the round out of my wife's 18-inch Palmetto State. It was also it was 7 degrees when we've been out there a while. You know. And it was ammo that I'll never use again and don't have any more of, and shot up and have the casings somewhere ready to start depriming and repriming and depriming and cleaning, you know. So is what it is. So that's that. So for water, I have a Survivor filter. It's supposed to filter out viruses, I think, with a 1 micron filter. Oh, nice. Most of them go down to 0.2 microns, the good ones. You might want to check it out. Okay. And man, let's see. My wife is saying you have pretty eyes. You have pretty eyes, babe. Yeah, just letting you know. This is more your Terry. What does Russia and Ukraine have to do with Alaska, Russian, or Ukraine, or is it constantly this is nothing new? I don't know what he's trying to ask. Teddy Two Guns, what are you trying to ask?
Yeah, I don't know either. Oh, he's saying, what does this have to do with Alaska? He's basically saying he's not interested in the topic, maybe.
Yeah, that's a little bad, dude, because right now the U.S. and the European allies don't want Russia to invade Ukraine. Russia wants to invade Ukraine. They have what 200,000 troops on the border, or 190, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
and they're poised to invade the rest of Ukraine they hadn't invaded yet. Because they did take parts of Ukraine a few years ago, right? And made it. Oh, those people were Russian speaking and wanted to be Russia, and we all kind of.
that was Crimea. Yep.
And so, is what it is, and so now they want to take that. So, if Russia invades Ukraine, and the U.S. supports independent Ukraine, and they go to war, and if the U.S. and Russia end up at war, which we're closer now than we have been since the Cuban Missile Crisis, then Russia is going to bomb Alaska, where we keep our nuclear weapons and many Air Force wings and tons of radar stations, and some nuclear submarines and naval bases, and our naval SEALs and Navy survival training, winter survival training is on Kodiak, and there's all sorts of things that's in Alaska militarily. If Russia and U.S. go to war, your kids are going to be doing nuclear bomb drills under the desk again. Okay, you know, bombing drills under the desk. You know, it is what it is. So
they're going to have to clean up the fallout shelters and restock them.
Absolutely, you know. And I'm thankful my basement is a pretty good fallout shelter, and we got a pretty good place down here. For that, and we've got a pretty good secure room in the basement as well for that, a couple of them. So we'll be all right if it happens while we're here. Problem is we commute back and forth to Anchorage every day, so you know.
How close are you to like some of those bases? Like are you within are you within 30 miles of any of those bases?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So then you gotta
at some point. If the war is bad enough, you know, do I think they would parachute troops into Alaska and invade?
Could.
No, but it's not without the realm of possibility. So, I mean, if you don't think this is an important topic, I mean, you need to go move to Kansas or something, my friend. I mean, seriously. Right. I love you. I'm glad you're part of my channel, Teddy Two Guns. I really do. But like, that's the way I feel about it. Is, and I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it for you. If you don't think this is an important topic for Alaskans, Kansas is your place. Missouri.
You're right next to Russia. I mean, you guys are right there. So
I mean, they can launch long range strikes with their fighters and bombers just like we can. So.
Yeah, you won't have much time because if they launch nukes at you guys, you only have like 5 or 10 minutes to take shelter, because you're so close.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Marshall DeVue says an AR-10. I haven't seen him since the beginning of the chat. So for cooking and boiling water, I use a Kelly kettle set with frying pans, and they're designed to even work every part of the world, even the desert, during using dried camel crap as fuel. There you go. All right.
It's a good idea.
All right. 45 Raptor is what I want to build. Yeah, 45 Raptor is a cool little cartridge. Gosh, it's expensive though. Just the brass itself is like $2 or $3 to $4 a piece. Golly. Wow. It's an AR-10 or AR-15 type cartridge in 45. I think it's an AR-10 cartridge.
Okay. So, I've heard of 45 Raptor. It's kind of like a 458 SOCOM, similar. It's very high velocity. Yeah.
Very high velocity. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what that is. Yeah, those are popular now.
What do you think of 45 long colt from a 7-inch barrel for bears? Is it down? Oh, absolutely. There's the Buffalo Bore 45 long colt is actually more powerful than the Buffalo Bore's most powerful 44 Magnum load. Yeah, absolutely. Now you have to have a gun that can handle that load. I wouldn't put it in your Taurus Judge. That's a good way to get your piece of crap Taurus blown up. I'm a Taurus hater, in case you didn't know that, but yeah. But there's nothing wrong with the 45 long colt for bear defense. If I found a double action 45 long colt tomorrow, for a good deal, it would be a bear defense gun for me. Yeah. When they had it on sale, I should have bought it. They had that Ruger on sale that took moon clips for 45 ACP and had 45 long colt in it. That would have been fun. So
that's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, let's see. Just stocked up on 147 grain, 5,000 rounds of 147 grain ball. Well, that's nice. Where did you find that? All right. MP5, such archaic technology. You have to pull the bolt back to install a magazine. Yeah, I know that. I like the AR pistol better. Yeah. So, Honky Kong, here you are. The Ruger PC9 has a 16-inch barrel, which means in hollow points you're getting less velocity, and in cheap full metal jackets that are used for practice, they're not bonded very well. The jackets are usually kind of thin and they're not bonded well, so you're going to get a lot of velocity. You might get a lot of bullet fragmenting. Now, probably not in the 147 grain, but if you use cheap 115 grains, you would. Sweet, still live. Just got off of work. Yeah, we've been going a while tonight. I usually leave a lot sooner than this.
Sooner, yeah.
A lot of people in the chat and trolls in the chat tonight.
A lot of trolls, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of.
Maybe it came from my channel.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't bring trolls over to your channel.
Yeah. Hopefully you brought. I think you brought a few people too. I want to talk about a lever. Yeah, I love lever guns. I got one laying next to me here too. It's a great gun. I think you're paranoid. I don't think Russia's going to do anything to Ukraine, and if it does, so what? If it does, so what? It's because the U.S. has said we need to maintain an independent Ukraine. Europe has said we need to maintain an independent Ukraine, and if they do invade, there will be a war between at least our European allies, with us supporting them, and Russia. That will happen. Okay, it will probably be Germany, France, because Germany. You got to think about Germany, Poland. Poland would definitely be at war. In fact, we just sent a wing of F-16s to Poland. Am I wrong? Weren't you the one that repeated that? Yeah.
Yep, they did. Yep.
just sent a wing of F-16s to Poland. So, like,
It'd be a
it is,
bad situation. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You know, they got very large infantry. I don't know. Are they going to invade America? I don't think so, but it is with that. Crimea is key to Russia. Read history. Yep, they fought a war previously over it. Yep, before the October Revolution.
If I was in Canada,
Yep.
I'd be more worried about Russia invading. I think northern Canada would be like a great place for Russia to establish like a foothold on North America. You know what I mean? Because they could cross the Arctic, they could drop a bunch of paratroopers and equipment in northern Canada, and there's nothing up there. Then they could set up missiles there, and then we can't go in and kick them out because they got missiles in northern Canada. You know what I mean? They could land their troops in northern Canada, like Northwest Territories. Then they set up air defenses there. They set up, surface to air missiles, ice scanners. And then at that point, they're basically right next to Alaska, but they're right on our doorstep, even closer,
Yeah.
So that's one scenario.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. I have not seen any issues with the FN9. Okay, the Foxtrot Mach 9, 3 types of hollow point, Winchester, and Hornady. Good. All right, Philip, good night, man. Have a good one. Well, I think we've reached the end of the chat here. A lot of people. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not. Yeah, but only 30% of our Air Force actually flies. The rest of it's, chairs and people in support roles. So
Yep.
we have a huge Air Force too. But like, it really does. Yeah, Martin makes a good point here, though. Alaska is far more viable in areas in Canada. Do I think the Russia is going to attack the U.S. directly? No. Okay, so I'm not paranoid. Okay, do I think it's a good possibility if we are fighting a proxy war in Ukraine? Yes. Okay. Yes. If our forces now, Biden has said he won't put boots on the ground in Ukraine.
That's a lie.
What's that?
I don't believe that. I think he was just saying that. It's
Yeah.
it's
I think it's actually a good idea.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, is what it is. So, Joe, have a good night, my friend. Enjoy that baby. It's not a baby anymore, are they? Let's see, getting that toddler stage, I guess. So Alaska is far more valuable than areas in Canada. Resources importance. Yep. So, anyway, well, I got to spend some time with my family. So, good night, everybody. Again, New York Prepper is our guest tonight, so go check him out. Check out the channel. He's got some good stuff there. We are close as we've been to war with Russia since the Cuban Missile Crisis. Would you agree with that? Yeah. So,
Putin said that himself. He said that the tensions now are as bad as during the Cuban Missile Crisis. That's coming from his own mouth.
Yep. Waiting is OS Crates. Thanks for joining us. Waiting is costly for Russia, but good for China to gain parity on the U.S. Yeah, there's that. So, if NATO is involved, we're involved. Yes, that's the thing, and NATO may be involved. So, but Ukraine has not officially joined NATO, correct?
No.
Yeah, it is what they want. It is what they want to do, though. So.
They could join by the summer. In July, they have their yearly meeting when they vote in, new members. So for Russia, it's basically do or die. They have between now and the summer to do something. So they're either going to get what they want from these meetings. If they don't get what they want, then I think they're just going to go in and take it, basically. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah. And one of the things they want is for us to guarantee that Ukraine's not going to join NATO. And it's like, okay, if we guarantee that, are you not going to invade?
Right.
We're basically guaranteeing you the green light to invade.
Exactly.
I mean, how stupid! Appeasement to Germany. Peace. Will Chamberlain. Peace. Will Chamberlain, the right person, right?
Yeah.
peace time, like
Yep.
Prime Minister, we're not going to go to war because we've appeased Germany and let them do their thing. And bam, we're at war. 6 months later,
Yep.
bam, we're at war.
Yep. They invaded Czechoslovakia and then Poland, and then it just
Yeah.
got, yeah.
Yeah. After the Czech invasion, the Sudetenland and Austria joined. They invaded Austria. It was like, we'll all have this meeting, and yep, no, we talked to Hitler, peace in our time. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's not going to work. A lot of people think that Russia is like under Putin. It's the same thing as Hitler in the sense that he's not going to stop at Ukraine. Like even if we were to just give him half of Ukraine and say, here's half of Ukraine, a lot of people think that that wouldn't be enough for him, that he would keep trying to, expand his territory and his power,
absolutely. Yeah, which is why we wanted to buy Greenland, So throw
Yeah.
that out there, thing out there. So anyway, guys, have a good night, everybody. Have a good night. Yeah. No, we actually don't. I don't watch Fox News. At all. So, sorry about that. So, we've actually been paying attention to what's been going on. So, Russia has already invaded Ukraine. We don't want them to invade the rest of Ukraine. So,
Yep.
here's what it is. All right, guys. Have a good night. God bless. Take care. We'll see you at the range.